Hi everyone, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com and I'm back with a much requested video, the tarot prediction video. So I have put together and split the deck up into 3 different piles, and I want you guys to focus on pile number 1, 2, or 3. Now I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Okay, so you guys have picked your pile number 1, 2, or 3. And I'm going to read what's coming up for the next several weeks for you if you picked pile number 1. Now, I don't know what card comes up first, so I'm going to take a sneak peek. Oh, I peeked. Okay, so the first card in the pile, I do 3 cards per pile to give you a little bit of an overview, probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks coming up as you look at the cards in the deck. It's not really a month by month thing. I do it just according to whichever deck you pick at whatever time you find this video. Okay, so the first card we picked, and I'm using the herbal deck. If you guys want to know what deck is one of my favorites, it's the Rider-Waite, but it's the herbal deck. So it has the herbs along with it. So you can read the herbs and the flowers and the meanings of the tarot cards, and of course, any other way you choose to read it. But this is the 8 of Wands. This is the first card in the deck that you picked if you picked pile number 1. Okay, so the 8 of Wands is a very interesting card because it shows the ambition and the need to learn knowledge in order to progress in one's career or the future career. So this is a card of people, for example, who want to go farther ahead in their career, have great ambition. Let's say you want to go to medical school and be a doctor and you want to take lessons to learn how to be a specific kind of doctor. This is the card that would show up because it combines both your ambition with your intellectual knowledge, and it's actually a really cool card. It tells me that you're very focused on achieving your goals through the pursuit of higher knowledge and higher minded thinking. Now, when we're looking at this card, we also have to understand that sometimes when you pull a card like this, you're going to be exposed to information that maybe isn't along the lines of what you thought it was. So it's a very important card to determine whether your ambition is headed in the right direction through the information that you learn through the pursuit of that ambition. So when you're taking these classes in medical school, do you really want to be a heart doctor, or would you rather be a pediatrician, or do you want to be a podiatrist? So it's a matter of going forward with the action and the ambition to further determine whether it's what you really want on a soul level or a personal level. So let's see what card came out behind it. Let me just say, whoever's picked this deck has picked the card that is telling me that they are full of ambition and drive. They do have goals centered upon what they want to do for a living, and they are trying to achieve that right now. So let's look at the second card. I'm going to peek because I like to peek, so I'm peeking. All right, so the second card is going to throw a monkey wrench into your ambition. This card, well, I don't mind this card, but I've had a lot of experience with issues that pop up around this card. A lot of people hate this card. It is the Tower, okay? This is the Tower, and as you can see, it is a tower that has caught fire. There's electrical stuff happening. There's a big clove of garlic down here. Garlic, of course, removes toxins and purifies the body. So what this tells me, if you pick this deck and this card's the second card in order, along with your ambition and your goals and your pursuit of higher knowledge towards those ambition and goals, the Tower coming into the equation tells me that you are following a path that somebody else has set into motion for you. Now, are you actually following a career that is a family career? For example, you come from a family of doctors or lawyers, and therefore you are expected to be one, and you have a really good aptitude for it, but it's not what you want to do on a soul level. This is when the Tower comes in. The Tower comes in to cleanse and remove what is no longer necessary in your life in the most brutal and dramatic ways. By brutal, I mean it's unexpected, so therefore it feels brutal, like when you come home and then, let's say you are following in a family footsteps and suddenly the person who's paying for your school says, you know what, I'm divorcing your mother and I'm not paying your bills anymore. That's kind of like you being thrown out of a career you really didn't want anyway, but you were doing it because it seemed like a good idea and your whole family did it, but it's not really your idea, but now you're fighting the idea because you can't have the idea. That's kind of the prefaces behind the Tower. But when it comes into your scope, the time frame is 2 to 3 weeks from now. When it comes into the scope of your life, what it's doing is removing what is no longer necessary for you. So in effect, it's actually saving you, although at the moment it's like ripping a Band-Aid off an open wound and then pouring salt on it along with like rubbing alcohol. So you're like in pain and writhing and you're like, why is this happening to me? I'm not amused. But things are changing rapidly to push you in the direction of your goals on a soul level. And there it's key. So now we have to see what card comes up behind it. And if we're not happy with that card, I've been known to pull a fourth card just randomly because we need a happy outcome, or at least a doable outcome. So let's see what card 3 is. Now I'm going to peek again. Okay, now that's interesting. I will be pulling a fourth card with this one. Card 3 is the 10 of Swords. Okay, so here we have the 10 of Swords. When you look at the 10 of Swords, okay, this is like a brutal bloodbath. What that means to me is if you pick this pile, your ambition, your goals and dreams have kind of been ripped away from you in order to point you in the correct direction of your soul path. But at the same time, you feel like you've been backstabbed by a betrayer in your immediate family. That's actually what that's about. You also probably on a health level are prone to anxiety and panic disorder right now because of what you perceive to be an ending against your will. In other words, this is like when somebody's moving down a path and they think it's the right path, although they're not necessarily connected to the path, but they believe it's the good path for them. And then the path is ripped away from them like that Band-Aid with the salt on it off the open wound, and it's just ripped apart. And they're like, oh my God, I'm left here. What to do? So what to do is to understand that this is a soul requirement to step back emotionally, because the 10 of Swords tells me that you're in a fit, and this is going to lead you more down the lines of anxiety and depression and like, oh my God, what just happened? I can't believe it. Oh my God. So you don't want to pursue that line of thinking because it can only lead to more negative thinking. What you want to do is understand that this is a way of moving you off of one road. Look at it this way. Sometimes we human beings, myself included, many times often, will go down a path because we are stubbornly fixated to the idea of it. We've been doing it our whole lives. It's what we should do. It's our path. We need to do this. We're invested in doing it. No one's going to change our mind from doing it. It's what we need to do. So when we do that kind of thing, the next thing that happens is when the universe has a plan for us on a soul level, we will be pushed off path A and put onto path B against our will, it seems. But what happens is when we're stubborn or we're overly invested in something that's not right for us and will actually delay us on a soul level, we will be bitch slapped out of that area and put over into another area, which is what's happening here if you picked pile number 1. Don't be too alarmed because you're going to see what happens within the next 2 to 3 weeks. In other words, you will understand what I'm saying. Now I am going to pick a fourth card. So I'm putting the cards back together here. And I am shuffling from what's left of pile number 1 here. I'm shuffling and I'm going to pull a fourth card, and I'm going to peek first like I always do. It's what I do on Christmas morning too. Even though like when I bought the kids presents, I'm like, ooh, I wonder what's in that package. Even though I knew what was in the package, I wanted to peek. Okay. Very good. Finally, this is the outcome. Now, when you're reading tarot cards, you don't have to stick to any method. I will pull tarot cards until it intuitively feels right for me. I don't work with tarot cards with my clients. I kind of use them if somebody asks me to, or they want me to, or truthfully, if I'm checking on something I'm picking up psychically, I will throw out a couple of cards to see if it matches with what I'm getting. Now, the fourth card that we pulled, and I'm peeking, I got it, I'm turning it over. It is the Four of Pentacles. The fourth card that I pulled for you guys after the change that's coming up in your life and throwing you a little bit out of your element. So I picked the fourth card from the last cards in the pile. I'm over here and I'm picking and I'm turning it over and I'm peeking. And the fourth card we picked is the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is a really good card that you guys picked. It's a good ending to what has happened. What seems to have thrown you off the path that you were comfortable on, this card is actually pushing you in the direction of building a new foundation. So that's good. Immediately after you have experienced what you're going to consider as something that you weren't welcoming into your life or something that was a little bit traumatic, you are going to be pushed in a direction that is going to set the foundation for your future. And that's happening within the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Because remember, in order of the cards, things have to happen. And then the fourth card is going to be the one that pulls you out of the slump and gives you the tools with which to build in the direction you're supposed to be going. So that's kind of an awesome way to look at it. So I want you to look at it as a learning lesson. And because of your stubborn fixation, don't get mad at me, to a certain idea about what is best for you, the universe has said, no, let's explore in this other way. And you've gone over there and you're like, okay, I'm ready to give this a chance. And a certain series of events have happened to push you out of your comfort zone. And then you are given the tools with which to start building the new foundation, which is the Four of Pentacles. Yay. Okay, so that is your reading for the next 2 to 3 weeks if you picked pile number 1. Okay, if you guys picked pile number 2, we are going to start with your reading. Now again, this reading encompasses the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks at the longest. That's how I do it. And I'm going to peek at the first card in the list. Okay, I'm peeking. Here's your pile, and I'm peeking. The top 3 cards is how I read it. So the first card, I am peeking here, and we have the Queen of Wands. Now, the Queen represents an older female over the age of 42. Wands is intellectual. The Queen of Wands in particular is interested in the reproductive areas of life, the fertility and the flourishing on an intellectual level. So this card is leading me intuitively to believe that we are talking about people that are making a decision right now, whoever picked this pile number 2, people who are making a decision about, are they going to go back into the workforce after having kids? Are they going to have kids after going into the workforce? And how long do they have to determine when they want to have a family? This is exactly what's coming through to me on a psychic level when I pull that card. Not always with the Queen of Wands, because this is a woman that is information oriented. So the Queen of Wands can be somebody in your family who's over the age of 40. Remember, you become a Queen card when you hit your 42nd birthday, a King card, a Queen card. Before that, you are not that, because you are not old enough with the wisdom yet to be the Queen card or King card, respectively, if you pull it, King, Queen. Anyhow, whoever picks this deck is in the process right now of deciding what is more important, family or work. Should they start having a family? Are they stopping have a family? So this can be a card that if you pulled it, you are in the process of deciding whether you're going to get pregnant, try to get pregnant, as in go for fertility treatments. Is it going to happen naturally? Or are you a woman on the flip side of pregnancy going through menopause? Both of those things are applicable right now because it is fertility and reproductive, and what you're going to do with your intellectual mindset in regards to these choices. Now, if you are a younger woman and you've picked this pile and this card, you are probably going to determine what kind of work you want to do so that you can raise a family. And so you are in the youthful part of your life beginning the family experience. If you are an older woman going through menopause because it's reproductive, you are going to be deciding, you know, what kind of woman am I now when I'm in menopause? Am I just going to shrivel up and die? Am I going to start a second career? Am I going to babysit? Can you call me grandma? Can you do this? Can you do that? How do I exist in society as a woman going through menopause? So these are the questions that are coming up around this reading. I'm going to pull the second card in the deck, and I'm going to peek first as usual. So the second card, and I've just peeked, is the Six of Swords. Here it is. Again, this is the herbal deck, and this is the Six of Swords. Now, this is a card of travel. So as we added and combined the energies to the first card, this is a card of, am I traveling to have conversations about where I'm going to work and how I'm going to start a family? Or am I traveling away from my family because I'm in menopause and I'm ready to start another part of my life? Maybe I'm ready to finally go after the career that I've wanted my whole life. And so I am out of the child rearing stages and I'm in the maturing stages of my wisdom and intellect, and I can move forward. Now, the Six of Swords is interesting because that is directly connected to work travel. It is a six and it is a sword. So we are in the process of traveling for work, and we have work to do at the other end of that travel. So even if you are traveling for a vacation, it's going to be a work vacation. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you could be traveling back home. Say you're going to New York City. That's what pops into my head, so I'm going to randomly say it. Anyway, say you're going to New York City and you're traveling and you're going back to visit family and friends. It's going to be super exciting. You might find that somebody, falls and sprains their ankle, and you end up catering to them while you're on your trip, and that becomes a work trip. In other words, you have to take them to the doctor, make sure that they can get around, help them put a cast on or bind their foot or whatever. It's that kind of a thing. It also, in the most literal sense, is travel for work. You may get a call within the next 2 to 3 weeks saying, hey, we need you to pack a bag. You need to go to Cincinnati for a work meeting, and then you're off to Florida, and then we'd like you to go to Europe. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would. Better a tropical place. So we'll say Australia, for example, minus the long plane ride. Don't want to do that. Anyway, it is a work for travel card. So this is really amazing when it's coming up for you, because we have the family, the planning, and the work around, are we going into a family situation? Are we going into an after family situation, a mature woman stage in life? Are we going to focus on work and the travel with work on the other end? So this can be work that you have to perform within the family unit, or work in the most literal sense. I'm traveling for work. Okay, so let's see what comes after that. I'm turning and I'm peeking. All right, we have a peeker. I'm a peeker. This is the final card in pile number 1, and it answers the question, kind of, for me. All right, so for those of you starting to plan to have a family, you will indeed be pregnant. This is the Empress card. So the answer to that question for you out there that have asked this question, when am I getting pregnant? Should I quit my job to have a baby? The answer is within 2 to 3 weeks, you're already gonna know that you're pregnant. So yes, you should probably work your job around that because you are already pregnant. The other thing that comes up with this card, which is really interesting, if you are traveling for work, yes, you're going to get the promotion. So this is a card of also promotion. Okay, so pregnancy, fertility, promotion. So whichever side of the spectrum you're on, do you want to start a family, end a family, start a job, get a promotion? The answer is yes, yes, and yes. So it's in the most positive sense, yes, yes, and yes. So that is the plan for the next 2 to 3 weeks if you picked pile number 2. All right, we're back with pile number 3. And as usual, I'm peeking first. I haven't seen them. I just kind of ripped the piles out. So I'm going to turn this over. And all right, if you picked pile number 3, I'm going to peek at the cards first. This is your pile, and the first card you pick is known as the Devil. That's right, you guys pulled the Devil. Pile number 3. All right, when we say the Devil, let's look at this in a different way. How are we restricted in society when we go against traditional beliefs and values? That's what this card is saying. This card is saying that you're going to be making choices that go against society's norms and or your environmental norms. This could be, within the context of your literal family, your work situation, your coworkers, or your neighborhood. So you're the person who paints the house like a turquoise color and gets in trouble for it. You are the person that decides you're going to quit your job and run away to India and travel. Or you really are going to make some decisions that are not in your best interest. Because remember, the Devil card is really interesting. You don't see it so much in the herbal deck, but in the other tarot card decks, you will see that the Devil card chains people to their desires and their perversions. Now, it chains them to it through their own actions. So remember that. You have the power to correct this. It isn't necessarily negative. What it's showing you is your vices and addictions and behaviors that are hidden and or perverse are more of your own choice. So nothing is making you do that. That's what this card says. So it's a very interesting card to have pulled, because at this point you are questioning some of your own behaviors and what you're about to do in your life. Now, let's just say you're a married woman and you've met a coworker that you find very attractive, and he's encouraging you and or enticing you to have an affair, and no one's going to find out. You're right in the point of making this decision. Let's say you work at a family-run business that's making a lot of money, and the owner is sick and he's looking after his wife, and you have access to the finances because they've entrusted you for the last 14 years with that. And now you're in a financial loss within your own family, and because he's not paying attention, you could start skimming a little bit off the top. Do you make that decision or do you not? So think twice before you take action with pulling this card. And remember, if you are trying to quit smoking, drinking, whatever addictive behavior it is, this gives you all the power in the world to know that you have the ability to do so of your own accord. Okay, so what do we pick after we picked the Devil card? I say we, I mean you guys. All right, so the second card in pile number 3 is extremely interesting. It is the Hermit card, and it is the card. Okay, now this is really interesting. Placed behind the Devil card, it tells me that you've had some health repercussions with your choices, okay? Because this card directly reflects on how you treat your body. And it means that you're making a choice through your own judgment of oneself to pull away from those things that you do in your day-to-day life or your daily environment. So you are choosing to pull back with your actions with this card, the Hermit. You are making the distinct choice based on your health and your well-being, so that you are not stuck continuing down a pattern or cycle that's going to put you physically in more danger. So you are actually making the choice with the Hermit card to take care of your physical health so that you don't jeopardize it anymore from your past action. This is also blood pressure. So if y'all pick this card, you should check the blood pressure. Just saying. So it's interesting because you are wanting to facilitate a better, healthier lifestyle with the choice of this card. So what comes in behind this card is going to tell me if you do it. And the time frame, again, is in the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks at the very most. I tend to do it within 2 to 3 weeks. That's what's in my head. Now, this is awesome. Okay, so the health issues that you've been dealing with have to do with depression, sadness, not taking care of yourself physically, probably eating too much, drinking. There's some sort of addictive behavior connected to this that you are chained to through your own actions. Now, this to me is belief system that you carry with you throughout your life. So this is something that your family thinks is okay. So you come from a bunch of alcoholics that party. You're not an alcoholic, but you need a drink for every occasion because it's the thing to do. But you have high blood pressure and you don't feel well, and you like to go out and play soccer, but you can't play soccer after you've been hanging out with your family because you're always shit-faced, and then you wake up with a hangover the next morning, even though you don't do it every day. So you're like, but I want to play soccer. So how do you change your life? The next card that you guys pulled is the World card. And this card is going to help you push your energy out in a very, very engaging way to people around you. So what it tells me is that your position on being a loner for the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks will change dramatically at the end of that time frame and allow you to connect with people, different groups of people, different family members, different coworkers, different experiences around your natural environment that help you get out there and see yourself in a less judgmental way and in a way with people that you enjoy more in your life. So this is a way of communicating and bringing in friends from a different, vastly different group of people around you. So it's actually a very exciting time for you where you are able to open yourself up, see that you're not perfect, forgive yourself for being an addict or an asshole, whichever one, and move. I'm sorry, I had to say it, because if you're an addict, you probably piss people off and they call you an asshole. But you have forgiven yourself and you're able to move on. And so this is the blossoming of new friendships for you in the next month. So we're going through all of that emotional, and you're making a firm and positive decision to change your life based on your health so that you can move forward. So it's actually a really good way to facilitate soul growth. And once again, I hope you've enjoyed this tarot reading. My name is Sloan from SloanBella.com.